Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube video presentation. My name is Nasa Chauka.
And I am Janisha Matias.
We're going to do a video presentation based on the topic employee harassment, which is one of the ongoing issues around the world today. I am going to introduce the topic, give examples of it, and state the main cause of employee harassment.
And I am going to talk about its impacts on employees and the preventions and solutions.
Employee harassment is an unwelcome conduct aimed to annoy or bother someone in a constant or repeated manner. It is done based on one's gender, race, national origin, disability, and others that you can name them. It is a form of employment discrimination when it violates one or more anti-discrimination laws. Alright, there are many examples of employee harassment. When we mention employee harassment, what comes to mind for most people is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is usually a male supervisor unconditioning favorable work conditions for a female subordinate in exchange for sexual advances or sexual favors. While sexual harassment is a common norm of employee harassment, there are also others that we can name them. Examples of employee harassment can be displaying of offensive objects or pictures. An example of this would be workers from different race who share the same workspace. When the other from different race posts pictures or objects that is offensive to the other, it can be considered as an employee harassment. Another example would be offensive jokes or name callings. Physical assault or threats is another example of employee harassment. This is usually when someone who is in power physically assault someone who is inferior to them. Another example of employee harassment is mockery. This is usually when someone repeatedly mimics a physical characteristics or impediment of a disabled employee. The main cause of employee harassment is power. A harasser might be in a position of power due to being the owner of a business, a valued customer of a business, a direct supervisor of that harassed person, or someone who is in a position that influences the harassed future career prospects. An employee who is in a higher position tends to treat himself as superior and those who are in a lower position as inferiors. For someone who has power over the others, he believes that he can do whatever he can, or he can mistreat or harass those who are inferior to him. All these mentioned are examples of employee harassment, but there are also others that you can think and name them.
Impacts of employee harassment. Employee harassment or workplace harassment can have a wide range of negative impacts on its employees. The following are some impacts it has on its victims. Firstly, it affects their mental health. Victims can experience stress, anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder and other mental health issues. It lowers the self-esteem and self-confidence, making them to feel unsupported and isolated themselves from co-workers, friends, and families. Secondly, it affects job productivity. The victims can experience heightened levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, leading to decreased job productivity and job satisfaction. The victims may feel unable to trust their coworkers, and this may result in a toxic work culture. Last but not the least, it affects the physical health. The mental health issues can lead to physical consequences such as chronic diseases, blood pressure issues, obesity, and cardiovascular disease. Okay, ways to prevent employee harassment. There are many ways to prevent and address employee harassment. Only 3 preventive ways will be discussed in this video. Firstly, the first preventive way is the anti-harassment policy. Policies about employee harassment must be created in a clear and easy to understand manner and accessible to all employees. Include a policy in employee handbooks posted in common areas, and provide digital access. Regularly review the Regularly review and update the policy to align it with legal standards and societal expectations. The second preventive way is to train the employees. There must be comprehensive anti-harassment training to employees at all levels. The training should educate employees about what constitutes harassment, how to identify and address it, and the legal implications. Training should also include information about employees' rights and responsibilities. Finally, the last preventive way in this presentation is reporting. Reporting something like harassment is not easy. The victims are already mentally affected by it, and coming forward about it might be a little difficult for them. Therefore, establish a clear complaint process and ensure that know who is employees know who to contact with questions or concerns. Assure employees that they won't be punished for asking questions or sharing concerns. When, when reports are received, investigate the harassment complaints promptly and effectively in a fair and professional manner. To conclude what was presented, employee harassment is an issue that affects all organizations around the world. It is defined as an unwelcome conduct towards employees in an organization. The examples of employee harassment, as was mentioned, are offensive jokes, name callings, displaying of offensive pictures, and many more, you can name it. The main cause of employee harassment is power. People who are superior or believed to be superior to others in terms of race, gender, positions in workplace, and so on, tend to harass those whom they believe are inferior to them. It has a great impact on the victims. It affects them both mentally and physically. Not only does it affect them mentally and physically, but also affects the job, productivity, and their social and personal life. Policies must be strictly adhered to, creating a safe working environment.